Cubby Samuelson coming with you with a series I haven't done in a really long time, and I was thinking about doing, so I decided to hop in anyway. As we continue on, you can see we're gonna have a bit of fun with the practice tool here. Practice tool is a great way to get better at League, and personally, I'm gonna use this to try and help you guys and gals figure out a little bit more about the champion LeBlanc. So LeBlanc's champion, I have been playing a lot lately. Hold on, we've been digging playing with shadows off lately. Yeah, it keeps things a lot cleaner. Alright, so, alright, you know what the beauty of practice tool is? Sorry, as I navigate. Excuse me, I'm fighting a bit of a cold here. Anyway, beauty of this is auto refresh cooldown, mana. Alright, and then alright. Full build on LeBlanc. Alright, so the big item for LeBlanc right now, what you usually build towards at start is the Hextech Gunblade. This makes it so you can trade really aggressively in lane. Sork shoes are also really good, so they give you a lot of combat stats. We'll just go with that. I like Merlinobicon later. Sometimes I pick up a lost chapter along the way. Death Cap's essential, Void Staff, and let's just play with Zonia's for now. It doesn't matter too much. We're gonna get all these abilities in. Alright, so a few cool things about LeBlanc. First off, let's so no minions, don't need those. How do I TP? Aha. So we're gonna head out to the river here. Alright, awesome. So, a few things about LeBlanc, first off. Oh, wait, can I toggle those? Oh, I don't like that. Okay, never mind. We're gonna head over. We're just gonna hop in the mid lane here, so we don't have to deal with any of that. Let's get some dummies out. What's this hotkey? Shift B? Oh, yeah. All right. Cool. So, LeBlanc's first ability, her passive. Alright. So, LeBlanc spells inflicts Sigil of Malice for 4 seconds. So that's when you cast a spell and it hits an enemy. It's like that one thing. So see how that pops up? You can pop that with another ability. And you can see it does a lot of damage. So, it looks like it's about a 0.8 AP ratio, which is pretty busted. And you can't hit it on the same unit for 5 seconds. I know that... Could I reset my level? So I want to see... Wow, that's cool. This is why practice tool is really nice. So we're gonna disable those. Okay, so it is 5 seconds the whole time. It is 0.8. I actually do want to see how these abilities scale. Wait, no, I want to go to 11. Yeah, okay. So now we can see how these ability scales. Usually what you do on the LeBlanc is you're going to max your Q. So the reason that is because when minions spawn, you can W the creeps and then Q them all, and the sigil will like bounce amongst the creeps, as you can read here. So it deals 60% damage to minions. It does full damage though to your first target. And you can see it scales pretty nicely. So the mana cost only goes up 5, but the base damage goes up quite a bit. And I think as I get some items in here, the same items coming out. Where's Hextech? So as I get some items coming in here, you're gonna see. It's easier for me to tell the AP ratios if I do it like this. Cool. So this is a 0.5 AP ratio, which is pretty nice. And you can see you get about 35 damage each time. So people usually put points into this. Now the W, it does decrease your cooldown a bit. That being said, they nerfed it pretty hard, so it's only a 0.2 AP ratio now. It's pretty bad, especially compared to the 0.45. And the damage only goes up by 15 base. So you don't get a lot from buffing this up. It costs 10 more mana. It doesn't reduce the cooldown that much. Now the chain, first off, it grants True Sight, which is really nice. And this also is a 0.5 AP ratio. That being said, the cooldown's a lot longer than the Q, which is 3.38 seconds. It is for the entire game. Wait, I have 35. Okay, I have a lot of CDR. So 5-second cooldown is for the entire game. Now, this is the tricky one. So your R, the Q does a little bit more damage, so the AP ratio is a little bit higher. The W ratio is a little bit higher, and the E ratio is actually a little lower. Now, the Shadow of Rose is kind of tricky. So, excuse me. The Mimic appears at target location, approaches closest visible enemy, and casts a fake version of her most recent ability. It's honestly not what Riot was hoping for. So, yeah, it does grant vision. That's like honestly the nicest part about it. So I'm gonna get back up to level 18, and I'm just gonna go through and show you how everything works. Some combos you can do. So I want to teleport. What's this shortcut? Shift S. Yeah, and then Shift B is the spawn some dummies. Okay. Hold on. Okay, so one big thing about LeBlanc, sorry, I was just warming up a little bit. One big thing about LeBlanc is that you do want to take the Thunderlord's Decree. It's really easy to proc in lane because all you have to do is auto Q auto. You can see that, you get that off pretty fast. I am level 18, so I have more attack speed. But that you can see the proc just hit. It's on cooldown for now. But it's pretty easy to proc in lane. You can proc at level 1. Really easy level 2 because you can do it that fast. So that would proc the Thunderlords right there. In terms of LeBlanc, so what you want to do is when the creeps... Actually, I can just spawn creeps. So, yeah, now we got a creep wave coming. And I'm going to clear these dummies. So I'm going to show you guys how to clear a wave. It's LeBlanc. So what you want to do when the wave comes on the LeBlanc, what I like to do, so what you can do is you can actually Q. Oh, whoops. You can Q one of those guys and it stays up. But you want to pretty much W the entire wave, and then you can Q to get the thing to bounce. As I'm going to now auto refresh mana, HP, and we're going to get rid of creeps. Okay, sorry. Practice tool is a little bit tricky, but it's really nice. So, in terms of building LeBlanc, you want to go Sorc Shoes and Hextech Gunblade early. This kind of ensures that, well, first off, the unique passive heals for 15% of your damage dealt. So that's healing for 15% of each Q, which is a lot of damage. So 388, 15%. It's about, what would that be? 50-ish health. So 50 health for every Q. And if you hit a big combo, so like if you hit a W on 2, so see there, it applies to both, the sigil will bounce. So and when the passive procs, see how much damage that was? I'm going to heal for all of that with the Gunblade. So it's really nice. But on the active, it slows people, makes it easier to hit the chain. Then Morellonomicon, get you a little bit of CDR, get you some mana back in the fights, which you're going to need, because LeBlanc is a little mana hungry. Void Staff for the pen. Sonya's, if you're safe. Death Cap's kind of nice thrown there as it scales really hard. Important things to note, for the most part, well, LeBlanc, first off, has a lot of cool combos thanks to this. So, her W, I have 4 seconds to go back, and I can W back to that marker. So, one thing this is really good for, so what you can do is watch this. So look at how deep that ward is in there. That's really valuable for competitive play to get vision like that down. Because it ensures that you can track the jungler, and it gives the laner, like the laner has no idea it was just there. I just burned my ult to do that. Something else that's really good to do is this does a lot of damage, so if I use my ult to Q, that's huge chunk on the lane. Most off though, when you're all-inning on LeBlanc, the key ability is that you want to hit her chains, alright? So LeBlanc's chains, it's kind of a slow skill shot, so you have to guess and get a little bit better at it. But if you do hit the chain, it's really nice because it does a couple things. First off, if I hit the chain and it stays on, so you can see the tether range. But if it stays on, it definitely procs the passive every single time. Which isn't the easiest thing to do, because, enemies are going to be moving. So you really have to learn how to dance around this. Also, there are going to be some instances where, you might throw one chain, and then I messed up that combo. I was going to throw 2 chains. 2 chains at the enemy. So I messed that one up. We're gonna wait for that cooldown to come back up. Anyway, if you throw 2 chains at the enemies, then you're gonna have to be wary of both of those. See, both those circles were up for a second. You're gonna have to just be wary of that. And you can see here that the ultimate chain does more damage, a little bit more damage. Ultimate does more damage in general. One cool thing you do with the ultimate is when it's up, if you hit R again, you spawn a clone. It does grant vision. You get your ult cooldown back. It tries to find the closest enemy, but it's a good way to grant vision, check a couple camps. It's pretty valuable for competitive play. That is its own separate cooldown right here. I actually don't know. That would be a good question how you can track, because I know your teammates' cooldowns you can track down here for their ultimate. Wonder if you can track. I wonder how LeBlanc's works. That's a good question. So with practice tools, it's always good to learn how your abilities interact with Flash. All right. So since LeBlanc has a lot of movement abilities, it's really important to figure that out. So the first one, and I'm actually gonna auto refresh cooldowns for this. Yeah. So the first one, we're gonna find out if you can do this. Whoops. Alright, so it doesn't look like you can flash and get the W to proc. So that's big. But you can flash W. So that works. Even though that's you can tell it's a slower combo. But it's not looking like... Yeah, it's not looking like this is working. Alright, so that's important to note. Something you can do, though, as the LeBlanc, is that you can chain flash. So, see how that chain actually originated from where I was standing. So the chain is going to originate from here, even though I'm going to flash up. Chain kind of follows. It's a lot faster than the flash chain, because you see how the chain has... It's got a cast time here. So if you want to chain flash... Yeah, the combo down. It's actually something that's really good to do in lane, since the LeBlanc has a lot of movement. A lot of times when you're all-inning someone, you can chain flash actually right on them and start walking towards them. Because then even if they flash away, it's not really going to matter. You're all in as the LeBlanc. Well, first off, you want to get your sigil down, and then you can kind of go from there. So you can get really creative with how you use your abilities. Keep in mind that you do want to usually lead off with your Q, because that's going to be the ability that comes off cooldown the most. Late game, keep in mind too that if you double hop, so if I go RW and then actual W, I can go back to the R and then the W and go back to the W and the R. They both have their own cooldowns. Something really useful to use in late game team fights. It allows the LeBlanc to really dance around. In terms of Q flash, how does that work? All right. So Q flash isn't that useful since, you know, it's a point and click ability. I was really hoping it'd be kind of cool if you could W, and then it would be so broken if you could do that. Yeah, I know I was testing around. I did this with Ezreal, and I found like a bunch of really cool combos you can do with Ezreal. Ezreal's kind of tricky to play. Pretty much, the E flash is the only one that's really difficult. The big thing about LeBlanc is that she's an assassin, and so the way you play assassins is, especially in the higher level of play, you pretty much have to play assassins perfectly to get away with it. If you mess up, hold on. So if you mess up as the LeBlanc, you get punished really hard. Thankfully, LeBlanc does have some getaways, so you can always go back to her W. Even if you flash, you know, you can always end up heading back. It's really nice. So you can see that I actually lock my camera. It's something that I need to get better at personally, mechanically. When I'm dashing forward, it kind of helps reset. It's not something I use a lot. Something that's kind of cool is that you can chain, you can W around. It helps you dodge skill shots. In terms of, I think your bread and butter for lane is going to be either Wing in and going for the chain Q immediately, and then you can chain again. So see, if they're rooted, you know, you're pretty much guaranteed they have that chain again. They can't flash out of that. Keep in mind that the Gunblade too is a slow, so if you really want to close the gap, you can slow them, and then you can land the chain. I didn't do that too smooth, but that's the idea. And then, you know, oh, there it was. Okay, so you can kind of see there. Oh, whoops. So Yeah, so see how that chain like kind of changes? With the old LeBlanc and the old chains, it worked like way different. I know for a fact you could like do that. Yeah. So see that? Sometimes like you can use that to bend it around stuff. The old LeBlanc, it was like way more complicated. If anyone was playing all the way back then. Like I said, your bread and butter though for lane, probably gonna be either the double chain or just the Q harass. With, you can see I alt Q'd to proc the sigil. It does a lot of damage, especially around level 9. It's pretty obnoxious to deal with, quite frankly. So keep that in mind. And your goal for the LeBlanc is obviously you want to dance around the team fight using your W and try and chain squishies and lock them down so the rest of your team can help out with that. So just kind of try and keep that goal in mind. I really think that LeBlanc in this meta is strong because you should be picking supports in team fights, and you're also a very strong laner who has a lot of roaming potential. Keep in mind that with all these hops that LeBlanc has in the lane phase, you can be really sneaky. One thing you definitely want to work on is getting around walls. So you're going to have to learn how to do that. Also, since you're going to mostly have the shove in lane, you can use that to get plants, get you a couple of nice buffs, and get back to lane nicely. You can knock out vision plants or just take away blast cone, honestly. You have 4 seconds, so you can really dominate the vision and the jungle in the mid lane. You're going to have to learn how to take advantage of that if you're going to be playing LeBlanc. So, overall, keep in mind, LeBlanc's fun champion. She has a low win rate because she has a very high mastery rate. The most important thing about LeBlanc that I haven't mentioned is that you just have to learn how to utilize your R, since you can repeat any of these abilities. So use that carefully in a team fight. When team fights break out, you're probably not going to want to RQ all the time. They're just going to use that to finish someone off. And also, obviously, landing the chain skill shot. And actually, what's the range like on this? So, ooh, sneaky, sneaky. So yeah, you're gonna have to learn what your limits are in this. Yeah. So it looks like when you hit the chain, and it's something like really good to do too in League, like play with hitboxes. So like you can see here, it's at the side of the cursor. Yeah, it still locks on. Does that do it? No. Does that do it? Oh yeah, it does. I can throw my chain over here. It still locks on. It's really good to know. Woo. Chain Fiesta. Anyway, that's my tips and tricks for the LeBlanc. This video wasn't nearly as good as the one I did with Ezreal. However, I really think that it's value to hop in practice tool and kind of review these champions before you actually hop in and get to play them and test them out. So anyway, that's it for me. I'm Matt Cubby Samuelson. Thanks for tuning in. I hope that you learned something about League of Legends today. And yeah, thanks for watching.